This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast, with original independent science fiction, written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the science fiction podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I have Chapter 12 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest coming up on this episode. Now, last time out, things ended with a crunch, as elevator doors closed on something they shouldn't have. Alibi Jones and his Covert-Ops team are attempting to escape the mansion and compound of crime lord Tony Yang after stealing back Devrizium tech he took and freeing Krish, Dr. Krishnavurti, from his clutches. So the question is, can they escape with Krish and the stolen tech? And what just went crunch? We'll find out in Chapter 12 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, on the way on this episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. A huge thank you to patrons who help keep the podcast going. There is pretty much just a handful of patrons at this point, but they contribute. You contribute if you're one, and you help keep the podcast going. I can use your help if you are listening to the podcast and you'd like to support the podcast. It's all voluntary, but you can go to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio and become a member for $2, $5, or $10 a month and help support what I do here on the podcast. And once again, a huge thank you to you if you do. You know who you are. In book news, it turns out I'm still struggling with my printer and distributor, Lulu, over one of my books. Going through the same thing with the short story collection, Alibi Jones' 6 short stories, that I did with the Hornet's Nest. Now, I was able to restore the Hornet's Nest, and that seems to be back out there now, in paperback everywhere. But Alibi Jones' 6 short stories is now unavailable. It's the same runaround. They had like this hiccup that occurred when they did a price change last fall. And it like bumped 3 of my books out of distribution. So 2 of them are back, and now this last one, 6 short stories, is hung up for some reason. And again, I'm emailing support there, trying to straighten that out. The craziest thing is that the 2 short story collections, they're now telling me, after 7 years, that they're not thick enough to have writing on the spine of the book. The books have had writing on their spines for 7, 8 years. But all of a sudden, nope, can't have that now. So I had to do new, like, solid color spines for the Time War of the Devrizium and 6 short stories. And as I say, now still waiting for 6 short stories to clear. It's so frustrating. Now, because of this, I'm thinking of doing something where I combine the short story collections into one book. Combining the 2 collections and retiring the current versions that are out there. You know, maybe call it The Time War and 6 More, or something like that. But that's just what I'm thinking right now. If you have any thoughts, let me know. Let me know what you think. You can find me, of course, in all the socials usually, at Mike Luoma, Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook. Just let me know what you think. Should I combine the 2 short story collections? Or does it matter? They are all under one cover in the Chronological Omnibus. And of course, that's what we're featuring on the podcast. We've reached the novel, Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, and we've gone 11 chapters in. So we'll get into chapter 12 next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Wake up, go to work. Work. Come home. Eat dinner. Rot your brain out. Go to bed. Lather. Rinse. Repeat. Are you tired of an old humdrum life? Tired of things that just weigh you down and depress you? Wouldn't you rather just focus on things that are awesome? Tune into Nutty Bites. Find out what's awesome. Nutty Bites. nimlas.org/blog.
Now here's Chapter 12 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow in the Dark Radio. Alibi jerked his hand away from the door. He wasn't in pain. What? He looked at his hand. Intact. He looked back at his wand, stuck in the closing elevator doors. He hit door open and grabbed the wand as the doors let it go. Then he hit the button to go up to the ground floor. Alibi lifted the wand to inspect the damage as the doors closed again and the elevator began to rise. The wand's screen was wrinkled and shattered. Control pads were missing, smashed in, or shoved out of place. There was no telling if it was still on. Didn't look like it. The elevator passed the first floor below ground. The alarm went off again. The light shifted to red, and the elevator jerked to a halt. "No!" Alibi said. "We're so close!" "Time for brute force?" He brought up his blaster. "Everybody, stay back, at the back of the car. These blasters are pretty strong. Gotta see if it can blast through the elevator doors." Brisby, Kat, and Krish crowded away from the doors. Emily stepped up beside Alibi with her blaster. "Let's go," she said. "Aim for the top of the door," Alibi said. "We're between floors. We need to go up." Alibi and Emily took aim. Fwash! Fwash! The blasters melted through the top of the door, opening a gap about a half a meter high and wide onto the ground floor above. A guard's head poked down on the other side of the hole, looking in at them. Fwash! Alibi fired at nearly point-blank range. The guard's head was simply gone, burned away. "I can get through there," Kat said. He bounded past Alibi and scrambled through the gap onto the floor above. "Hand me a blaster," Kat said. "I will blast the floor to widen the gap, but I cannot aim properly with your weapons. My digits do not fit them well. So I advise you to stay back." Alibi handed Kat his blaster and stepped back out of the way with the others. Kat backed away, up above. "Firing!" Kat called out. "Fly!" As smoke cleared, they could see Kat standing on the floor above them, through a gaping new hole blasted in the floor in front of him. They now had another meter's space to crawl up through and escape the car. "Let's go," Alibi said. He helped Emily and Brisby, and then Krish, up and out. He followed. As Brisby helped pull him up, he heard more shooting. Fwash! Fwash! As Alibi got to his feet, Emily shot her blaster, trying to hold off a couple of Yang's guards who'd appeared at the end of the corridor, no doubt drawn by their elevator door blasting. Fwash! Emily brought down one of the guards. "Kat!" Alibi called over to the Dacour. "My blaster?" Kat tossed Alibi the gun. Alibi caught it and brought it up into firing position in a single motion, aiming at the remaining guard. Fwash! The guard went down. Alibi ran up to the end of the corridor to survey the situation around the corner in the main hall. Yang was leading an armed group of security guards back into the building through the manor's entranceway. "Lock the doors!" Yang ordered. His guards spread out across the inside of the front of the manor, as if preparing for a siege from outside. "Uh-oh," Alibi said. He ran back towards the others. Alibi! Emily shouted as he approached. Down! Alibi dove to the floor. Emily raised her blaster and shot down the other end of the corridor. Fwash! Alibi looked up behind him and saw a guard spin around, hit by the blast. Another guard appeared behind the first, replacing her in the doorway. Fwash! Alibi shot the second guard. Fwash! Fwash! New blasts came from the other end of the hallway, but missed any targets, blasting burnt furrows in the corridor's walls. Alibi saw two of Yang's guards preparing to fire again, a few yards past Emily, Kat, Brisby, and Krish. Fwash! One down. Alibi went to shoot the second. Fwash! Emily took care of them. But Alibi was ready as a third guard appeared. Fwash! The guard went down fast. Coming at us from all sides, Brisby said. Not really, Alibi said as he joined them. Just two. Those three were probably trying to get up to where Yang is, Emily said, nodding at those they'd just shot. We happen to be in the way. Nothing against us. Oh yeah? I don't think Yang likes us, Alibi said. Probably not personal, though, Emily said. Bet he'd shoot anyone who tried to take his stuff. Perhaps you underestimate the degree of his loathing, Kat said. I do not shoot at people I merely do not like, or some of you would be dead, several times over. Ouch, you wound me, Kat, Alibi said. We will be lucky if words give us our only wounds this day, Krish pointed out. I hope this Yang is a bad shot. Oh, he's not shooting at us, Alibi said. He's getting ready to shoot at someone else. Probably safe troopers, my guess. We're stuck between him and his reinforcements. So, Kat said, that is who is shooting at us? Yup, underlings, Emily said. A man with many underlings, Kat said. That cannot be good. Yeah, Alibi said. He's kind of powerful, haven't you noticed? Owns his own planet. And he does not like us, you say, Kat said. We have been an inconvenience, Alibi said. Again, it seems you are downplaying the degree, Kat said. Why? Alibi asked. Because of the shooting? Yes, the shooting. Fwash! Fwash! They heard more shooting coming from the front of the building. Fwash! Fwash! Alibi tried to recall the building's plans in his head, to remember if there was another way out of this corridor besides the front entrance hall where Yang and his men were. Nope. That's the only way out from this point, if I remember right. Wish my wand was intact, so I could double-check. Alibi looked back at the blasted elevator entrance and the other dead guards. Not going back that way either. Fwash! Fwash! More shooting from the front entrance. But no one was shooting at them for the moment. They waited in the corridor, watching both ways for any sign of Yang and his guards. After a few minutes, Alibi realized the shooting had tapered off. Don't hear anything now. Let's try the entrance again, Alibi said. See if Yang's still there. He made his way up to corridor's end and glanced around the corner. The manor's entrance hall was empty. The firefight ended some minutes before. The combatants had moved on. Come on, Alibi called back to the others. Hurry! Kat, Krish, Emily, and Brisby emerged from the corridor into the main entrance hall. Weird how quiet it is, Brisby said. Fwash! A searing flash outside the left front wall of the manor led to a man-sized hole burning through the wall, the blasting beam nearly hitting their group. Aw, man, Alibi sighed. More shooting coming from the side, Emily said. A flanking action by Yang? Nope, Krish said. Those are safe troops. But they're shooting at us, Alibi said. Now we're being shot at by safe troops? Krish wrinkled his forehead, thinking. We have the power core, Krish said. Maybe they think we're the bad guys. Fwash! Another blast melted a hole in the wall next to Alibi. We are not the bad guys, Kat said. Tell them, Alibi shouted over the next blast. Fwash! Signal them, Kat said. Tell them we are not the bad guys. Wish I could, Alibi said. Alibi held up his broken wand. Your wand has been damaged, Kat observed. Thank you, Mr. Dacour, Master of the Obvious, Alibi cracked. Fwash! I believe that singed my face, Kat said. I would really like them to stop shooting at us. We are not shooting back, Krish said. It's all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, Emily said. Fwash! Alibi decided to try yelling. Hey, he shouted. We're on your side! There was no response. Emily, give me your blaster, Alibi said. She handed it to him. He threw the blaster out towards the shooting safe troopers. Hey, she protested. We give up, Alibi shouted. The safe troopers stopped shooting. Nothing happened for a minute or two. Alibi, Emily, Brisby, Krish, and Kat looked at each other, wondering what to do next. A voice called out from the safe trooper's position. Is there an Alibi Jones with you there? Kat looked cautious, Brisby surprised. Should you answer? Emily asked. Alibi shrugged. I would not, Kat said. He didn't ask if you were here, Alibi said, trying to joke. Kat looked hurt. Sorry, Alibi added quickly. Hello? The voice called out again. Alibi looked at the others. Hi, yeah, I'm Alibi Jones, I'm here, Alibi called back. Oh, good, the voice said. Your aunt said we might find you here. Said we shouldn't shoot you, we'll stop now. That was nice of her, Alibi shouted back. Sorry we were shooting at you, the voice said. We had bad info. Happens, Alibi called back. Two safe troopers poked through the first hole they'd blasted, guns in front of them, as they glanced around the entry hall. Drop the blaster, Alibi said to Brisby, as he let his go, dropping it on the ground. Brisby followed his lead. One of the troopers fell back to signal more troops to move up, as the other approached. Alibi Jones? He said, looking at Alibi. Then he saw Krish next to him. Dr. Krishnamurti, we're here to rescue you. Get you out of here in one piece. Then you should not have been shooting at me, eh? Krish said. The trooper looked chagrined. Sorry, we didn't know, the trooper said. Thought you were still Yang's guys. Think you chased them off, Alibi said. The trooper scanned the entry hall before he answered. Maybe, but not for long, he said. We're beyond the borders of the Solar Alliance without a whole ton of support. Gotta extract Dr. Krishnamurti here and skedaddle. 5 more safe troopers climbed through the hole into the room, one after the other, encircling their group and watching their surroundings with wary eyes. You mind if we pick up our blasters? Alibi asked. Sure, not a bad idea, actually, the lead trooper said. Emily looked at Alibi. Give me your blaster, she said. You threw mine outside. What? Fine, Alibi said. I'll go pick up yours. Alibi picked up his blaster and handed it to Emily. Brisby grabbed his as well. Okay, let's go, the lead trooper said. He looked over at their entry blast hole, then at the front entrance. Think we can risk the front door. Hold on a sec, Alibi said. He ran over, hopped through the blast hole, and looked for the thrown blaster. There it is. Alibi glanced around to be sure no one was aiming at him. No one was, that he could see anyway. He scurried over, grabbed the blaster, and ran back into the manor's front hall through the blast hole. Wanted to snag this, Alibi said to the lead safe trooper, lifting the blaster up. Fine, the trooper said. Let's go. The group made their way out of the entry hall, safe troopers surrounding Krish and the others. Alibi, Emily, and Brisby kept their blasters ready, just in case. The safe troopers landed their cruiser on the manor's grounds, near the outer wall. The 9 of them made their way over to the ship, keeping Krish and the power core safely in the center of the group. They gathered at the ship's airlock after crossing the front yard without incident. Hey, Alibi said, looking over at the wall. Could your cruiser blast us a hole through that wall there, so we can get out of here? Probably be better for us to sneak back to our ship. Wouldn't be good to be seen leaving with you guys, he pointed out. Sure, the lead trooper agreed. He called up to the bridge and had fire control take the shot. Fwash! The ship's guns blew a hole through the wall, large enough to drive a transport through. That'll do, Alibi said, appreciating their handiwork. He looked at Kat, Emily, and Brisby. Time to go. Good to see you, Alibi, Krish said. He turned to board the trooper's safe cruiser, turning back before the doors closed behind him. I'll tell your aunt you are well. Thanks, Krish, Alibi said. As the airlock closed, he turned back to the other 3. Let's run. Use the ship's takeoff to cover our exit. Alibi, Emily, Kat, and Brisby walked around the front of the cruiser as the engines in the back began warming up. Once they had the cruiser between them and the manor, they ran towards the freshly blasted hole in the wall. They stepped over the molten rubble remains in the gap in the wall and jogged down onto the street. Delivery transports whizzed by, driving away from Yang's, passing them as they walked back to the spaceport. "No more deliveries tonight," Alibi cracked as the traffic flashed by. "Do you think we have blown our cover?" Kat asked. "Maybe," Emily said. "Maybe not. Brisby and I were just launching into our Haggis sales pitch when the safe attack started. Yang broke off the pitch and had us locked up for our own safety, as he put it. Like I said earlier, the guy's kind of paranoid." "We can't be sure the field nullifier did anything," Alibi said. "But if for some reason it worked, our tracks, mine and Kat's, should be covered." "It seemed like we eliminated any of Yang's people who saw us," Kat said. "Alibi is a good shot." "Did what I had to," Alibi said. "Guess we'll have to wait and see," Emily said. They made their way down the boulevard, back towards their ship. At the top of the hill, Yang's manor glowed with an abnormal, pulsing orange light as it burned. The raid over, the safe ships were gone. Smoke hung over the building. As they approached, Alibi noticed the Dakur embassy buzzed with activity, a disturbed hive of commerce. An unusual number of ships seemed to be taking off from the port in rapid succession. "Nobody likes to see the Solar Alliance show up out here, huh?" Alibi said. "All the rats scurrying to jump off the sinking ship," Brisby said. "What?" Kat asked. "Yeah," Alibi said. "What?" "It's an old naval expression," Brisby explained, as they walked through quiet chaos inside the main hall of the embassy. "Long ago, back on Earth, they traveled on the oceans in massive sailing vessels. When one started to sink, even the vermin would try to get off. The Brisby family used to be Navy men going way back. My dad used to say it a lot." Alibi spotted Laurel Eden nearby, walking quickly through the crowd. "Looks like she's heading for her ship." She spotted Alibi. She shook her head and changed course to walk over toward their group. "Hold on a sec," Alibi said as he stopped. He took a few steps to meet Laurel midway. "Always happens," she said. "I get an in with a bigger player, and I get taken down." "Yang?" Alibi said. "What happened?" "Heard he kidnapped a Solar Alliance scientist," she said. "The Solar Alliance just came and got him. Both of them," she emphasized. "Yang and the scientist?" Alibi asked. "Wow, they don't mess around, huh?" She didn't respond. She looked at him and grinned, but there was no humor in her smile. "Don't bullshit me, kid," she said, still smiling. That was Chapter 12 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow in the Dark Radio, part of the Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus, which continues. Well, Alibi Jones and his Covert-Ops team got Krish and the Devrizium Power Core safely into the hands of the Solar Alliance Interplanetary Force, SAFE. And they may have even preserved their cover. Although the woman Alibi met earlier, Laurel Eden, seems to know something is off with Alibi Jones and his crew. We'll see if they succeeded as we get into Chapter 13 on our next episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. Once again, thank you to patrons. Thank you, if you are a patron, for helping to support the podcast. Just a handful now, but you help pay the bills, and that's huge. If you want to become a patron, it's $2, $5, or $10 a month, totally voluntary, and you can do it at patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And I'm dealing with some frustrations in the distribution of the 6 short stories paperback, Alibi Jones' 6 short stories, and wondering if I should combine the 2 short story collections into one book. If that's something you'd like to see, let me know. Either comment on the podcast or get back to me on social media. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Maybe it doesn't matter. That is all for this week. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2026 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NC-ND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.